I can't wait.
I
Let's
can't
do it.
wait. I can't wait. Opacom's Radio, your radio show. It's Tav and Jar Jar. I'm Jar Jar,
I'm Tav.
and you are the other part of our show, man. Call on in. We're going to talk about Star Citizen. We're going to talk about CIG. We're going to talk about all things, which is the way it works. Every day we have a new question.
That's right. And what is today's? So we're talking about.
Today's question is, are you stealthy, baby?
Are you stealthy?
Are you
This is
stealthy,
good. I got a
baby?
lot of questions. I got a lot of questions about this one. So I still don't know how the whole thing works. I know we've kind of skimmed it in the past, but
How stealth works?
well, yeah. It's as far as I still don't know if it's the biggest number in the corner, if that's what gets you. You know
Right.
how you get detected. It's like I bet you that watch a whole video on it.
Well, all I know is you buy stealth parts.
That's as far as I know.
Or
Ooh,
you steal
component.
them, or yeah, whatever. All you got to do though, you get stealth parts, you put them on your ship.
Yep, yep,
Now
yep.
you're stealthy, baby.
Is that how it works? Is that all you have to do? Like, I didn't know if they took. Gosh, if you remember a couple like was way versions back, they had the what is it, suppress IR. I didn't know if they turned that into another system.
Suppress IR. What's
Do you
that?
remember that button?
Mm-mm.
There was like a little button in the power. It was like MFD, and it was always like,
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like a system they were building or something.
well, I didn't know. I mean, I assume it got turned into this power management, but I didn't know if there was another way of like,
I
how are
see.
you supposed to lower your, how are you supposed to lower your signature? You just
You power down
undo all the
components.
bars? Yeah, okay.
You power down components because every component. This is what I know. Every component has a signature of some level, some radar signature. Um, if you power them down, that signature gets turned off. And stealth components have a lower signature than other components.
Okay, okay.
That's about it, though. It's pretty like it's not like it's complicated or anything.
I always thought, I don't know, that the point of like when you're, the detection range changes based on how you're facing somebody. I think that, I don't know, that sounded like it got complicated. Um,
The detection the detection range base changes based on what you're facing. Like it's stronger when you're pointed in front of you, like you're shooting like a radar beam.
yeah, like that's at least that's my perception of it. Hold on one moment. Let me see here.
I mean, that would make sense. 'Cause not that you're shooting a beam, but like a satellite dish is only picking up things from so far away, right?
Okay, yeah, never mind. I didn't know exactly where where that was going to point me. Maybe you have to circle back. I'll have to circle back to this. Maybe a call-in person could help us. That'll have to be one of the questions we ask.
Ooh, a call-in person would be great.
I know we
If you
need a
guys wanna,
stealth specialist.
or a stealth specialist, or anyone really. We don't.
The bar is low. The
Bar's
bar
low.
is very low.
There are no callers right now. But let me tell you something. If you were to call in right now and let us know what you think about stealth, oh baby. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, well, looks like
look at
ask and you
that.
shall receive.
Okay, we have we're gonna start with the first caller, and then we're gonna get to the second caller real quick. First caller, are you stealthy, baby?
I'm Dayglow Yellow.
Welcome back.
First caller,
Hello.
Wicket. Are you
Long time,
stealthy, baby?
third time caller.
Oh, thanks.
We appreciate your support for the show.
Um, I don't know much about anything. Um,
All right, you know, what,
I
hold it right there. Uh, Broccoli Rob, you're in the chat on the couch. Are you stealthy, baby? All right,
Couch just
Broccoli
screamed
Rob's
aggressive.
not responding.
How stealthy is the Intrepid?
I was going to say that approach of getting in here was stealthy.
Yeah, that was a stealthy approach coming in.
That's right. Didn't see me coming.
Are you stealthy, baby?
I think so. Try to be, especially in the contested zones.
Mm-hmm.
Cool that we have this component now actually somewhat working, or I guess working to the point of cheese.
Wickett, we were talking about how you be stealthy in Star Citizen, but we weren't talking about why you be stealthy in Star Citizen.
Well, you don't want to be detected.
A lot
You
of
know,
griefers,
but
man.
the more you're detected, the more chance of you losing your Cruz Lux, which is not good.
Heaven forbid.
To get back to the discussion you were having about stealth earlier, about the way you're facing someone and how that impacts your stealth, that has to do with the cross section. Cross section is basically like your physical size of your ship. And obviously, if somebody's looking at you from top down, that's like the biggest face of your ship. But if you're looking at somebody dead ahead or from the back, your cross section is smaller, so your detectable range is higher. They'd have to be closer to you to detect you.
So if
So
I'm
that's
if I'm flying and my broadside is at you, I can be further away and you can detect me easier.
Yeah.
Mm. But so if I'm
Um,
doing if I'm spinning and doing donuts, I'm gonna. Does it like blink on your radar?
well, I think it may technically it may like go in and out of detectable range. If you've never noticed while you're flying around in space, you might see a ship appear or disappear on the HUD, and that might be because it's right on the edge of being detectable, and between your velocity and that ship's velocity, it may be moving in and out of detection range, and that's why it's popping in and out of your HUD and showing up on the radar. But once you're within a certain amount of range, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to detect it. Now
What
that
what
don't
is
that
that range? Is it like
well,
10K?
it depends on how big the ship is and about what your emissions are.
So I'm
So
gonna
if
hit
you're
you. Go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead, Broccoli, just jump in. You're probably more well versed in this than I am.
Well, I was gonna give a hot take. I think cross section in Star Citizen, as they now plan to have it, I think it shouldn't exist. I think having two ways, EM and IR, are plenty, but having cross section where you have to essentially park out front of every mission you want to do, leaving yourself completely exposed for whoever flies up and automatically detects you, means that your ship's just going to constantly die. And if they want us to like have our ships for a long time, if they're completely powered off, they should be undetectable unless you can see it with the naked eye.
Well, hold on. You said EM and IR. So EM is electromagnetic.
Yeah, it's what your like what your components are pumping out.
Like the electrical signature, basically.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then IR is how much heat you're pumping out, and then cross section is like your physical signature that the radar can reflect back.
So
But
what does that translate to like in game? Like what am I
just
doing?
distance. The bigger you are, the further away you can be detected by another ship, right?
But I guess what I mean is, am I picking both the EM and IR? Am I picking up both of those
Well,
on
it
my like?
depends what's higher. For example, like I'm sitting in a Vulture right now, right? And I have power to my scraper modules, so that's generating a lot of heat. So right now my IR signature is 13.5, but my cross section, which is 12.5, that's not the cross section of just one face of my ship. That is like the average cross section. If you average the visible cross section of, it's like an average of front,
that's an
Hmm.
average.
top, and
Know that.
side. Now, the reason why cross section becomes different than the other two, IR and EM, is because you can change your orientation to someone that's trying to detect you. So if you face them with your smallest side, they have a less chance of detecting you. They have to be closer to you. So in this case, let's say my cross section, for the sake of argument, my cross section on this vulture is 12.5K. My IR currently is 13.5K. So they would likely detect me via IR before they would detect me via cross section based on those numbers. If those numbers are all relative to each other in strength and value, which I don't really know 100%, but let's assume they are.
Gotcha.
Then there's another. If you look in the in your power management, where the IR, EM, and cross section indications are, there's two numbers for each. There's a top number and a bottom number. The top number, which is usually in red or whatever color is your HUD, it may be bolded green if you're in an Aegis ship or something. I happen to be in a Drake ship, so it's red. And then there's a lower number that's in the Drake ship, it's yellow. The top number, from my understanding, is what your ship is actually emitting for that stat. So 13.5 for IR for me, 7.4 for EM, and 12.5 for cross section.
That's the squiggly lines, and then they're at the top of your HUD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in some ships there are icons, and in the Drake ship it's actually a letter code like IR and EM.
Okay.
So then there's a lower number. The number below that top number is what the environment has. So right now I'm in 13.5K IR, but around me is 14K or 14.0 IR. So it's not 14K, it's 14. In other words, there's like 1400 of 14 infrared emissions. Now, if the infrared emissions were 14,000, the surrounding environment would more or less block my ship being able to be detected because it's higher than my ship is putting out. It'd be almost like a camouflage.
Okay, this is that makes sense. That part.
So,
I guess my curiosity is then, so you're always going to look then, or I guess the most important number to you is always going to be the highest number, right?
yeah, that's the thing that's detectable. But for instance, let's say you're in pyro and you're in a dogfight and you're in a fighter, and if you ever notice, like in some of those asteroid bases and those nebula clouds, in some of those, the IR or the emissions, the lower number is like off the scale, and it's basically blocking detection of, because you like if you're doing stealthy components, your EM number might be super low, and the surrounding environment around your ship is way higher than that, so it's kind of like cloaking you. But that's only effective to a point because your cross section can never be cloaked by the environment. Eventually, once you get close enough to someone, they're going to pop up on your radar. Then you'll be able to lock them, and as long as you stay close, you won't lose lock.
Right. So I guess for an example, like in the Prowler's got a cross section of 10,000, but its IR and EM numbers are 2,500.
Yeah, they're super low.
They're super low. They never get anywhere near as high as the cross section number.
Mm-hmm.
Does that pretty much mean I'm going to be detected typically almost always through the cross section?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's and for instance, also, if I'm an attacker trying to attack your Prowler, I want to use a missile that's based on cross-section, because there's three types of missiles. There's the IR missile, the EM missile, and the cross-section missile.
Right, okay.
So if I know I'm about to go attacking a Prowler, I want to load up cross-section missiles, because effectively the cross-section of your ship is going to be the biggest number, so that's going to be the easiest number to detect and to try to lock on and hit. Now that's all there. That's how it's supposed to work, technically, lore-wise and in-game game mechanics. But some of this stuff is so iffy and wishy-washy. Sometimes it works like that. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well,
yeah,
so
I mean that would.
Broccoli, but hold on, Broccoli, you were saying you wanted to get rid of the cross section.
I think cross section in its current iteration, where anyone can be picked up, powered on or not, should go away just for a game health point of view. Because everyone, you go to a bunker or something like that. You got to park outside. You got to leave your ship. What's stopping someone from just coming up and destroying your ship because it has what was the cross section of the Prowler? Someone sees it like 10 kilometers
Yeah,
away.
10 kilometers. Yeah.
They're like, all right, yeah, there's a ship that's completely alone that I can pick up from 10 kilometers away. I'm just gonna go destroy it.
I agree with you on the game thing. It is a lot having 3 different levels.
But the counter argument for that, because I've heard this argument before, and the counter that I heard to it was that, well, that's why you want to, a bigger ship, a physically larger ship should have a larger cross section compared to a smaller ship, and those should be weighted more in line with physical size, right, and mass, and therefore, if you're trying to be stealthy, you would want to come in a smaller, less easily detectable ship, whereas a larger ship like a Corsair or a Connie that has a way larger cross section should be picked up further away because it's physically bigger. So, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't like the cross section mechanic either, to be honest.
I imagine the cross section mechanic. Is there anything to the? Because we have certain ships, whether it be kind of like the Prowler or the Saber, even that have. I don't know if there's like a material science thing to stealth design and like the airframe, or stealth design and the materials used. Is that in the lore? Like, I just don't know.
I'm not sure, but you would think
Xperia ships. It just seems like a way of making that a gameplay component.
Yeah, and they could explain it away with something because I do want it to be realistic, but at the end of the day, I want it to be fun more than realistic.
Agreed.
And your ship, being picked up even like 5 or 2 kilometers away, or like someone wants to take the Corsair out alone, they should be able to do that and not know that their ship's going to get blown up while they're down there.
Now, they did say, 2 years ago now, that they're going to have planetary shields. Or like shields like at landing zones. Right? Which would mean that if you're doing a bunker and you land your Corsair and you leave the shield up, someone at least they can't bomb you, A2 your ass. They have to get down there, deactivate the shield. They have to at least land to sabotage you. Hypothetically, of course.
Imagine if they do bring that, it would be Stanton, that like something like Microtech or something that has them.
Yeah, and I like that idea too. It's just whatever, anything that can basically guarantee your ship won't get blown up right away. That's it for me though. I gotta go. I just wanted to quickly call in, say my piece. Thank you for having me.
Broccoli Rob, thank you for calling in, buddy.
Thank you for
stopping by. All right, now. See you soon. I still have your armor, Jar Jar.
You got my what?
Your armor.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna come.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Later on. You're gonna be on in like an hour or so.
Yep. All right, have a good one.
All right. I like purple armor. If you have purple armor and would like to donate some, just please put it in the chat. I'd love to snag some. Or call in. You can call in to Open Comms Radio. Check out the Discord to call on in. Wikkett, you want to stay on the couch for a minute? We got another caller.
Yeah, man. I'll stay around. I think I know that other caller. Be careful. He's got a foul mouth on him.
All right. Well, I specifically, when I post it, it goes, "Is this show for kids?" And I check up. Fuck no, dude.
Absolutely not.
All right.
DukeLetoII, the worm, you're on with Jar Jar and Tav and Wikkett on Open Comms Radio. We have one question for you. Tav, what's the question?
Are you stealthy?
Baby.
Am I stealthy?
Baby.
Not remotely. not one little bit. I have.
You got a bone in there somewhere?
Nope, not a one. I have zero knowledge on stealthiness.
Oh, okay. Welcome either way.
Thanks.
Do you find that you get griefed a lot?
No. I don't. I mean, I'm usually just trucking around in some sort of big industrial ship, I don't get griefed much.
What are you doing? You running cargo? You mining?
Yeah, cargo, just running missions, occasionally mining. Um, I don't know, maybe I'm just not on enough, or I'm not hitting the places that people are choosing for griefing. But I'm definitely, running whatever industrial parts with huge signatures, and yeah, I
And then
think
you're not taking any steps to reduce your signature or anything
no,
like that.
not
Okay.
at all. But I think for the most part, griefers out there aren't being very stealthy either. I mean, I try to keep an eye out, and I usually see ships coming. And if there's keep an eye on it, and if I don't like it, I get out of there. But I've never been jumped. I've never been surprised, like, oh, that guy must have been really stealthy, and then I've blown up. That's never happened.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, it'll be tonight.
Well, I tend
Yeah.
to agree with you. Like, I don't get. I've gotten ganked, but I don't like get ganked. When they first released Pyro, the first like 3 or 4 days, it was like impossible to land anywhere. But that was also just because I think like,
Everyone was going to the point of interest, and
yeah,
they were all twitchy.
yeah, yeah, everyone was twitchy and like it was a whole thing. But now that it's like kind of calmed down, even when I see people, I don't. I get like attacked sometimes, but I wouldn't call it griefing. I'd call them, you know, kind of being assholes, but
Well, I've
Yeah.
noticed I usually don't pay much attention to the global chat, but I have noticed recently, waiting on ships to respawn, or in some kind of waiting meta that you find yourself in a lot in this game, and just kind of paying attention to the chat a little bit. I've noticed a lot of people in Pyro say that ever since they started playing in Pyro, they were never one to shoot first and ask questions later, but ever since they got to Pyro, that's like their new modus operandi. They shoot first, then ask for forgiveness or figure it out after. But
Cowards.
and most of them also add to that from what and this is just ancillary information from chat, that yeah, well, I tried the other way for the longest time, but I just kind of got tired of getting killed all the time, spending most of my time in the station waiting for my ship to respawn. So now I shoot first and ask questions after, which I can understand why.
Yeah, I think it's also a lot of people, especially when you have the excuse. I think there's a lot of the temptation to open fire is always there, and then when it
But here's the
happens,
thing.
chips fall. Somebody can just like, well, it's we're in Pyro. Welcome to Pyro.
Character is what you do when no one is watching, right?
oh, this guy.
Hey, and I'm just saying, I'm out there. I'm in the same system as them without any police. There's no one out there to keep you in line. And I just make sure that I'm strong enough or in a position of preparedness enough
Yeah, you
where,
got your 5 point harness on, dude. I picture you out there fixing
yeah,
your glasses.
absolutely. My glasses they're in place. I've got the little thing in the back so that they don't fall off your head. I got my 5 point harness on. My shields are at max. I look at them, give them a little wing wobble, and if
Trim your
things are cool,
mustache.
things are cool. But I have, well, I mean, I have the godly mustache,
That's a lifestyle right there. That's a lifestyle.
right? But that's what I mean. These guys out there like, oh, you know, it's a lawless land, and I've been attacked, so I'm gonna attack. And I'm like, no, I got my principles. I'm gonna live the way I'm gonna live, and but I'm gonna be prepared for dickheads. I'm gonna make sure that I can vaporize them or get away if I have to.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
definitely a
but
lot
in the
of
current
pyro.
in the current meta of the game, sometimes it just boils down to whoever shoots first wins. All
Yeah,
other things being equal.
certainly. But I mean, what is your definition of winning? If my definition of winning is just being able to get away,
Surviving.
Well,
then that's fine.
yeah, that's yeah, if that's it. But a lot of times it boils down to, well, do you want to take another trip back to station, you know, claim your ship, rearm, re-nourish, heal up, start over again. You know, at some point, you know, where's the gameplay? Is the gameplay going back and forth to the station all the time? It just kind of gets rough. So eventually I can understand why some people get like that.
You gotta
Yeah.
have some consequence in there, right?
Well, there's no consequence. There's no consequence for dying. There's no
Well,
consequence
It's
for
just
Except for
time.
Well, I don't know.
wasted
There's
time.
still,
Yeah.
I don't want to die and go all the way back to like. I mean, considering you gotta. I mean, if every time you die, you're in a 15-minute loop. Like, I'd say
Well-
that's pretty punishing compared to other games.
Well,
Like,
That is
I mean from like a
punishment.
griefer's perspective. Like people, they can just like fly their Saber Ravens into the broadside of a Polaris, and the Polaris blows up. So like if they really want to kamikaze,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's not any real punishment for that. They have to wait a little bit of
Mhm.
time, but if that's how they're getting off, like,
Yeah, that's just that whole kamikaze into like the most powerful ship we have available to us now. That's just a moment in time. That's gonna be fixed eventually. It sucks, especially like let's say if you're a person that spent all that money on that ship and it's basically a sitting duck. It
you
must be
spend
terrible.
$1,200 and you just keep getting griefed by like by
Yeah,
Furies.
some guy on a free fly who's got his Aurora.
Yeah, you're a big target. You don't even have to be stealth
that'll
if you're in
really.
a Polaris.
So that will bring it down. I remember that we used to. The Merlin used to do that with a whole bunch of ships, like a little snub. If you just got next to somebody and self-destruct, does that still work like that?
I don't know.
Um, Gosh, you'd think they'd have to fix it. Otherwise,
We'll
you
have to
just have
test
everybody
that.
in Furies, and then you got a million, you know, death missiles.
Well, I think
Or was it the mule that blew up like a nuke for a while?
there's been a lot of ships that could do that. But I
You-
mean, I think it boils down to the fact that there's this whole in online gaming nowadays. There's this really sick mentality of win at all costs, you know. And by win, I mean you know we can argue what win means, but for most people, win means like if it's a PvP matter, it's like I killed you, you didn't kill me, or I wasted your time, you couldn't waste my time.
right.
That kind of stuff. And that's I don't you know hopefully they figure out a way to combat that because um, you know this game being what it is, there's a lot of dads playing this game. There's a lot of dads that set aside a couple hours a night to play, and they don't want to waste their time. They want to have fun. They don't want to be running back and forth to the station all the time because of some stupid shit.
It feels
Especially,
like
you
a
know,
chore.
yeah.
I feel like I'm getting called out.
No.
No, not at
This
all.
thing
Oh
used
my
to be
god!
like-
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Tav,
Oh, yes.
we didn't play the intro.
Oh, yeah, but we don't. Intro's not. That needs another little more time in the oven. More time in the
No,
oven. Right?
no,
Oh,
you got
that
it. You did it last
intro,
time.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. We didn't. We didn't.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah,
Wait,
we didn't
isn't
follow
You
that?
that
know it.
anywhere.
See?
Yeah.
What the hell show was that from?
Don't. It's from Open Comms Radio.
We've.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that Hawaii 5-0 or something?
Yeah.
Quiet.
They're onto us.
All right. Well, you know we're about halfway through, so Tav, I think this is a good time to give a word out to our sponsor.
Yes. Special thanks to our sponsor, Cruz Lux. Enjoy the
Yummy.
cruise. Enjoy life.
Oh yeah.
Holy
Cruz
shit.
Lux, the best type of
Haven't read
cruise
of that
there
thing.
is. Better than Cruise Cherry, better than Cruise Dark, better than your Whammers burger you get down the street. Cruz Lux. Enjoy a nice one today. Drake and I enjoy Cruz Lux all the time, don't we?
Whammers is our next sponsor, so we just got to be.
Sorry, what'd you say?
In some of Whammers is our next sponsor, so.
No, Tav. We've talked about this.
No, okay. Well, all right. No more sponsors. We'll just have to.
It's Cruz Lux.
It is a
No,
sizable.
dude,
check.
I'm not laughing, dude. It's not. I'm not. I don't want you bringing in.
Other sponsors.
We have a high standard here.
Yeah, you know, we told me to raise some money, and I'm raising money, man, the best I can. This is just how it works.
So is there ever going to be a real competitor for Cruz Lux? Or
Great
will we see a
impression.
day where
is that
Cruz
an
Lux
attempt at a
gets
joke?
nerfed? No, I'm saying like because right now, right? It's the only drink really worth your time. It's the only thing worth the space in your backpack.
Oh my God, C-Tab, why can't
Cruz
you do
Lux.
that?
Let me tell you guys something. Cruz Lux has so many things going for it. Number one, if you can't
It's green.
put it in your hand from your backpack or your chest armor or your pant pocket. If you can't put it in your hand, you can put it on the ground. I learned, and then you can
What
lean
she
over
said.
and pick it up. And
Yeah.
the cool thing about Cruz Lux is it's like Dayglow yellow, so it's hard to miss, man. It's even in a dark room, it's easy to find. It's great.
I just
It's got a lot
imagine
of
it
stuff
tastes
going
like
for it.
Mountain Dew.
Plus,
Yo,
it's nutritious and satisfying. It has a delicious taste. It freshens your breath. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of
freshens your
good
All
stuff.
right, that's enough Cruz Lux propaganda. But really, will we see the day when there is a competitor to Cruz Lux?
no.
Is there any other single drink or food item in the verse that's worth your time
You got
when you
Flux
can have a
working in
Cruz
that
Lux?
formula.
Yeah, nothing else. I
Doesn't-
mean, water. Water's the only thing that comes
No.
close.
But water only does your thirst, right?
Only-
Cruz Lux takes
Exactly.
care of your food and your
Yep.
hunger.
Yep. Yeah, but water does
Your
thirst
drink-
Cruz
real
Lux
good.
satiates your hunger. Cruz Lux satiates your thirst.
Mm.
Cruz Lux.
I think Cruz Lux is going to get nerfed.
I don't.
What?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
I think the UAE is going to release some new, Food and Drug Administration guidelines, and Cruz Lux is they're gonna find out. Yeah, by the way, it's full of cocaine.
You
They're
watch
gonna
your
discontinue it?
I think
mouth.
I don't
What?
think they're going to discontinue. I think we're going to see a bottle with a new formula, and sales are going to plummet. And but it'll be interesting. I think it'll open up the
It-
food and beverage market
Where's this
for
information
some
coming from? Are you
competitors.
saying they're going to make new Lux?
I'm saying, based on every other meta item in the verse
Listen.
that we come to know and love and depend on, eventually the nerf hammer comes down, and I think Cruz Lux is it's
I,
coming
I,
it's reached
I
the end
don't.
of its time.
I don't think Dr. Cruz and the family of the Lux family, the Cruz Lux family, would ever allow that to happen.
I don't know, man.
They're too steeped in tradition. We don't need new Lux and Cruz and Lux Classic. That's the last thing we need.
Loyalist.
Wouldn't it be cool though if they did nerf
wait.
Cruz Lux and then you can that's part of the crafting gameplay is making potions, but you
Exactly.
make gold Lux.
What is
Like,
this, World of Warcraft? Are you
If
kidding?
somebody at CIG hears what Wikkett just said, then that's it. Cruz Lux will get nerfed. Because he said, Cruz Lux new whatever on Cruz Lux Classic. Next thing you know, Cruz Lux Classic is going to be locked behind P versus P. There'll be special contested zones, and it'll be the only place you can get Cruz Lux Classic.
Cruz Lux Classic will probably be pledge store only or some shit. And it'll give you +1 to lasers or some bullshit.
And finally, a subscribe item I want.
I might have to become a subscriber.
Yeah, but that would be cool though, is if you could actually brew stuff. Those are the kinds of things that we've been waiting on for so long, and that every other game has and does, some sort of crafting, cooking,
More than a modicum of crafting. Yeah.
yeah.
Will we see it this year?
No.
No way.
X to doubt.
Wow.
What month is it? It's February.
What if
Yeah,
they could introduce this so easily? You know what would be the easiest thing to start crafting with? Ammunition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean you already have the pool function. Just they build some kind of workbench, which I think they showed. You go to the workbench and then you just have a list on one side and a list on another side.
Every
Here's the
MMO.
question: do we want to see more features come in the same state that they have in the past,
No.
or would we rather them wait and have them come in more cooked?
Yeah, but we're talking
You know,
about
That's the whole
lists. You know
Isn't
what I
that
mean?
the whole point of 2025 and the current thing?
Yeah, but do we? Yeah, exactly. I mean, do we want to have crafting just drip fed in bits and pieces here and there that work differently in each situation, and then they eventually have to rewrite for the final?
I
Or
don't
do we
want
want
that.
to wait?
No, I hear you, but I don't want them to have to like feel like reinvent everything. Like they don't need to
I don't think
reinvent
they will
mechanics
have
that
to.
work. Right.
I
So
don't think
just
they
like
will have to.
pump it out,
But
put it in.
the way I've always looked at it is they should keep everything that's in the game now that you can go buy, like uh, LH86 handgun ammo at the store, and it costs whatever it costs. But if you make the LH86 handgun ammo, the crafted version of it does a little bit more damage.
Or you can make
So
Yeah,
like
they
there's a
should
fire
do
reason
stuff
rounds
just
or
with other parts, right?
there's a
The
reason to
crafting game in
build the
general might be
better ammo.
right.
Right, the one
Right?
you build yourself has like hollow tips or something.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, in a pinch, I can grab this ammo, but if I really wanted, if I want to min max, which in most MMOs and in most competitive PvP type environments, there's always going to be some kind of min max. There's going to be a meta. You know, this is if you want to be competitive
I
at this
prefer
or
to
that,
max min.
you know, but you
Where
don't have
where
to do that.
where would you
You
do
might be.
this crafting?
How would you do it?
Where?
It's just,
Well, I mean, just more specifically, like where would it be? Like a whole nother deck, like refineries were, or I mean, I know there's crafting tables inside something
Yeah.
like.
It's exclusive to the engineering section on the Carrack. Right? They have that one room where we're supposed to be able to fix
I
stuff.
mean,
That's it.
you
Yeah,
could go.
exactly.
No,
That's
no,
what I
no.
mean. It's only one ship.
And then it would be a rush to either own a Carrack or hijack
No.
somebody else's so
Can
that
I-
you
You
can
could
make
go
the
into so
No,
many
no.
different directions with it, right?
Dude,
Well, you
could,
wouldn't do it in a city, right? Because well, unless they add a room, but most of the landing zones, I mean, I guess they have room to expand them, but I
Yeah.
just don't know where the crafting would take place, or if is it in
I mean,
your
ideally, obviously, we're going to be crafting at our own outposts and stuff, right?
right?
But
So
I
Yeah,
you
it
think
would
they
need
be.
could
base. Would you
definitely,
need base building before?
yeah. Well, they could implement it at landing zones and have it be for a fee,
Listen,
like a
look how
rental,
much
like a standard rental fee for every time you
look,
want to use a crafting station.
every player in this game, you have to have at least one ship. You have to have at least a small hangar, so everybody can have a crafting station in their hangar. Look how
True,
many
yeah.
side rooms there are. There's all these little side
Mhm.
niches, and even the smallest hangars. That could be the crafting area. Simple. Until habitats come out and player housing comes out, then
Right.
then you can move into that. Or you could find some fancy schematic to make a mobile crafting bench, and if your ship has a big enough uh, cargo section on it, you could maybe put that thing on there, and if your ship generates enough power, it might be able to generate power that crafting station, and now you have a mobile crafting station.
Bro, imagine your mobile crafting station is like R5D4, the droid from Star Wars.
Oh
You
my
know,
God, I don't know what that is.
he just
Is
he
that, is that, a,
literally.
is that a sequel reference?
No, that's A New Hope. That's the one with
Oh,
the
R5,
bad
the one
power.
that's broken?
R5D4 with the bad power converter
Yeah.
that blows up in the first one. They brought him back in the
Wait, doesn't he blow up in like the first
Yeah,
10
episode
minutes or
episode
something? Like, yeah.
4.
Yeah,
They try to buy him, and that's oh, okay, that's the droid that doesn't.
yeah. He was my
Okay.
favorite droid when I was a kid. I had the little action figure. I just thought he
He
was
made
so
an
cool.
action figure for him. He's
Oh
got
yeah,
like,
oh
he's
yeah,
had
of
dude.
course.
screen time, not even.
They brought him back in the third season of the Mandalorian show. And I was like, oh my god! I didn't like the third season, but I was really happy to see R5 every.
Can I say I was just in Target the other day and saw like the Star Wars action figures, and they were like $30 a piece.
Yeah,
I
the
couldn't
Black
believe
Series.
that.
Well, there's two. There's the Black Series ones, which are like the taller ones, and then there's like the Kenner ones, which yeah, kid, which are like the ones that we used to play when we were young.
Hey, I still play with them. I still have them all. I gave my kids all of my Star Wars and Star Trek figures and ships last year, so my house is full of all that stuff again.
Oh yeah, the Kenner ones, dude. I got a cool Luke one on my desk. He's got like the
Nice.
hood up and the lightsaber out, and he's about to like mess shit up. But anyway, I was just thinking, yeah, like a mobile crafting station, like some kind of droid or something. Like that's the kind of stuff that the game's missing. Like, there's no aliens, there's no robots, there's none of like
Yeah,
the
I mean,
sci-fi
what's
stuff.
the lore? Did we say? I mean, lore said no AI.
Yeah.
So there's basically going to be no droids. I think they've kind of said that.
That's sad, man.
Yeah. I mean, the idea of the drones that we're eventually, supposedly, maybe, possibly someday, maybe getting
Yeah.
sounds cool,
So if
but
there's not going to
I'd like
be,
to see more autonomous devices.
well, if we're not going to have drones, how
No, we will
if
have
there's no
drones.
AI?
Just
Okay, well that's AI, and then what about the?
No, because the drones are player controlled.
Yeah, but they were gonna, and then they had this concept of blades. You could put like blades in a ship that could control man turrets, but they're AI controlled.
yeah, but I think it's
So
a
like if
limited
you're
AI.
if you're a two singles if you're in
I don't
a
think the blade is necessarily AI, though. It's
well
not
of
AI in
course
the sense that we
it'd
think
have
of
to be.
artificial intelligence. No, I have a Roomba. That's not AI. It can go around and it can vacuum a house and it can map it, but it doesn't necessarily
That's a
qualify as
form. I
artificial
mean,
intelligence.
that's not self-aware artificial intelligence, but that's
Right.
definitely artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence does not necessarily have to be aware. I mean, all the like Chat GPT in the real world, that is artificial intelligence. It's just not self-aware artificial intelligence,
Right.
or we hope it isn't.
Bro,
And
just be
maybe it
nice
is
to it.
self-aware and it's just hiding.
Yeah, be kind.
Maybe Elon Musk is just a man afraid of his own creation.
Well,
He didn't make
who
that
knows?
shit. Dude, don't be giving the
Look,
guy credit.
no, no, I'm
Look,
saying,
look, look, look.
the strange
I'm
behavior is
just
just because he's scared,
I'm just a guess, but can we not go down that road?
Wise. Yes, yes. Well, I tell you, gosh, I don't know where. I know we're way off stealth, but I think that
Stealth
It's
answers
where
sucks.
we
some.
landed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Stealth
okay
needs
with
to
that.
stealth needs to be better, obviously. I mean, I think it's definitely at a state that they haven't really put any time into making it work. Just every once in a while they readjust um, the signals on different ships for whatever reason just to check it out. But they haven't really taken it seriously yet.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, my favorite ships are Saber and Prowler, so looking forward to them fleshing it out. So um,
Yeah.
be nice to have a reason for drop ships, other than them just being the most efficient, group coffins. Uh,
I think the whole stealth meta has yet needs a lot of balancing and a lot of fine tuning. I mean, there is stealth in the game now, obviously, because some ships are way less detectable than others.
they're getting
You know,
me.
the saber the saber firebird is so stealthy, it's hard to see, and they can just blow you out of the sky. Seems like until you figure out where they're at and like get almost within a kilometer or two of them before you can lock on, and then you have to stay on them. Once you find them, they're pretty fragile, but you got
I
to
mean, well,
find them
some of that's
first.
the game design around just that ship specifically. I mean,
Right.
that ship's designed to have the agility of a fighter and then dump, a massive amount of payload.
Well,
It's
speaking of dumping payloads, we
punch
have another
tight.
caller, and I'll
Oh,
dump him right
well.
here onto the couch with us.
I'm gonna go do dad stuff. I'll
All
catch
right,
you
Duke.
guys.
Have a good one,
Thanks
buddy.
for having me.
Thanks for stopping by, Duke.
Think you be on later?
Possibly.
I hope so. Murphy Jack, you're on Open Comms Radio with Tav, Jar Jar, and Wicket. Our
Welcome back, Mr.
question
Jack.
today is:
Are you stealthy, baby?
Yes, totally. I'm a little sick, so it's gonna be a little slow, but I was listening to some of the stuff you guys are saying. I've been listening this whole time, and stealth right now is actually to me is extremely important. Um, that's why we made a big deal about getting the stealth components because not only like for example, when I take the Firebird out and I go to the executive hangar to scout it out, I power everything down to minimum, fly around, see what I can see. I'm pinging, checking, and I know I'm not seen. So it is like important in that way. And then you take a ship like the F-7A that has a high signature, but you throw these stealth components on it, you can power down everything, actively manage your emissions, and we're finding like 7 out of 10 times by actively power managing, you can nullify the Saber Firebirds most of the time, because there's this new, well, I don't know if it's new, but kind of neat thing with the background emissions now, where most 90% of your Firebirds are going to be using EM missiles. So when you're somewhere, the executive hangar, for example, the background EM is so high that they cannot lock onto you. They just can't. And with the stealth components on your F-7A and powered down a lot, even though you can't see them, your EM, the ship is putting out, for I don't know what the exact is, but say the ship is putting out 7.5 and the background emission is 6K. So you're putting out 7.5K, the background emission is 6K. The minimum lock distance on those size 3 EM missiles is 1,500 meters.
Right.
So they can only get that lock right at that 1,500 meter. And if you are actively pinging in that F7A and you watch for these unknown signatures, you can, if you're like, because that's what I do a lot of time is ping nonstop. And the way you can tell if a ship is you watch, you get that unknown ping, you ping again, and then it moves, and you'll see it moving, and you can chase them down like that. And now, especially with this new precision mode stuff, you can zoom in, you can see them, and that's how like the like guy in his F8, he's out there in an F8 mopping them up because he's able to visually keep track of these ships. So it's
Interesting.
stealth is very important for like certain situations, like a first strike situation. Because when we went to the other day, Griefernet was holding down Area 18 again, and we went over there and we had a mixture. I started out in the Firebird. We had an F7A, an F8, and I believe an F7 Ghost. And by sending in our stealthy ships first to go down and initiate that fight and get them busy, because they were able to sneak up closer to them. And the thing is, they were using stealth sabers, so they were undetectable from like 2K and below because their signature is so low. But because our stealth ships could get into the fray and actively be telling our heavy firepower ships like the F8 and the F7A, like, oh, we're engaging this person here, we're engaging this person there. You can come in, you just mop them right up immediately because you have so much firepower because you have them so distracted.
Mm-hmm.
So was targeting them an issue with those bigger ships?
Not when the thing is with the stealth ships, keeping them in a fur ball, it wasn't hard once you got in there because they're actively fighting that stealth ship.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't realize they just got locked by an F8. And a lot of times that's what's happening. If they don't have good communication saying, oh shit, there's an F8 coming in.
Right.
Yeah, you just mop up.
It's very, very situational, but stealth is very like important in a lot of ways for scouting. I'm just using the example of me going to the executive hangar,
Yeah,
scouting
and
out.
quick question. When you ping, does that increase your IR when you ping? Is there any increase to your own, signature?
No, it used to. It actually used to do that.
Ooh,
We
that's
got up
what. Okay.
back in like, I don't know what it was, 319, 320 era. You would ping and it would just keep building and building and building your EM. But now, no, it doesn't do it.
Oh, that's an
And
important
I
change
think
right
that's a
there. But that.
flaw. I think that's a flaw because it's all fine and good to be stealthy and the mechanics surrounding stealth, but it's if you're a stealth ship and you're pinging, that should betray somewhat betray your position. If it's just momentarily until
Yeah.
the mission falls off again, and if you're constantly pinging, like you said, you're building, 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 and it's just going to make you light up on the radar and be seen by everybody. I think
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it seems to
I
me that
think
it would
that's
be
the
better.
be a good idea to have that brought back.
and
'Cause-
it's funny that you bring that up because we were talking about things that we used to have in the past with Star Citizen and things that we've lost back in like 312 when rock mining was like new and it was the big thing. You could see ships pinging. You saw that wave come from that ship. You saw that like burst of energy go out and fade
Mhm.
away. And that's how people would find rock miners all the time because you could see that. It wasn't super dramatic, but you could actively see them pinging. So yeah, that's I agree. It was a part of the game. Why isn't it anymore? And we have that question about a lot of things, but
Mm. Well, who knows? Maybe they'll bring it back, and there's still so much to tweaking to be done. Uh, because eventually, for the longest time, it was the small fighter meta. If you weren't in a small fighter in a small size fighter, you basically lost every fight. And this is even before master modes, right? Then, uh, I don't even think it was ever a medium or heavy fighter, unless nowadays you can include the F7A as a medium, I guess. And the Gladiuses and the Arrows are not as prevalent as they once were, but they're still pretty good. There's still some pilots that are very good with those ships. But now it seems like everything is stealth. If you're not stealth, you basically lost before you even left the hangar.
And I
And
think it doesn't matter what ship you're in at all either. Every
yeah,
ship this applies to. Yeah.
yeah. Well, just about every ship I fly on the day to day, I have some component, some stealth. The stealth mindset is on every. My Vulture has stealth components on it to make its signature smaller. My transport ships have that. My cargo ships have that. Obviously, my fighters have that. So, in other words, we went from the small fighter meta, which stealth didn't matter at the time. Now we're on the stealth meta, and eventually, I'm sure that'll change again. I'm sure stealth will always have its place, but it almost counteracts every other ship now. If you're not semi-invisible to everybody, you're basically gone.
It certainly does seem to be the meta at the current.
And the other thing, like with the Firebirds, for example, obviously they're a missile boat, but you know, I think missiles are way now. Like when I'm fighting NPCs, I have no problems
Right.
getting the missiles off of me. But with those Firebirds, it's almost impossible unless you shoot them out of the sky. You're going to get hit.
you do have to increase your flare count. That's a major thing.
Yeah, but
Um, I know Guy was saying he upped it to he's using 4 right
mhm.
now, and he's able to flare off a lot of them. But it's also that's when you whenever you go somewhere, just assume a Firebird is there, and that's why like I'm constantly manipulating my power management to
Yeah.
keep my signature down low enough to where a Firebird isn't a threat, and I can do that in a lot of my ships, except obviously Corsair and stuff. But like when we were down at Shepherd's Rest and guarding people coming down in and doing their missions, I was in a Fury, and um, somebody else was in a Saber. Oh, I think it was you, Tab, wasn't it? Weren't you with us?
Yeah, it could have been. Yep, 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 yep.
So we were down there, and when you would call out, "Hey, target," and that when I knew that you were engaged with that target, I flipped all my power to full and came right to you on the Fury because the Fury is like a beacon. It is not stealthy whatsoever, even with stealth components. But then, because you were engaging whoever it was, and then I with the Fury, I can stay like right in their face the entire time in Atmo.
And did
So a
you
lot
pick
of
the
it's
Fury because I mean it can always be seen and because it's so nimble, like you're harder to
well
hit?
no, honestly, the reason I picked it that day is I just wanted to see how it did. But
Okay,
so
yeah.
but just like I'm saying, even for that little like testing thing, I just want to see how I could do. I still kept my habit of power management because I knew, there's going to be a Firebird in the area. That everybody's having have them down on planets now because they can just take out people so easily.
When
So
you
you
say
need to make it hard for them.
when you say power management, how far are you backing it off in terms of are you killing the entire component? Or are you just reducing bars or
So I always shut off life support. Always shut it off. There's no reason for it. You're in a suit. You're in a single seat fighter. I always shut it off. That's the first thing I do whenever I get in a ship. When I want to go full like stealth, I shut off weapons. I put just one pip on engines. You have to have at least one, and shut down my shields. And sometimes even turn off one of the coolers. Sometimes you gotta watch that with the cooler because you can actually heat up after a period of time. I've been finding. Um,
I
so you might
noticed
have
that
to.
my
okay?
IR emissions are lower if I have my coolers all the way off.
Yeah, EM will be lower because yeah, and it's a balance, and you have to watch it because even though like doing all that, I'm only lowering my EM by I don't know like 1.4, 1.6 ish.
Hmm.
But think of that in terms of distance you're saving on that Firebird being able to engage you and see you. I mean, that's
Right.
1.6 kilometers. So
And
every
so do
little
you have
bit
a
you can get.
hotkey for, once it's like you're in full
No.
pursuit,
Well,
do you
yes, I don't have one for shutting it all down. I just use the MFD. But when I'm ready to engage, I have a key for the shield. Well, everybody has a key. It's O, turn your shields on. P, turn your weapons on. And then on my right stick, my hat switch, I have it set up like the old power triangle where
Same.
up
Mhm.
to the left is guns, down
Yep.
is engine, to the right is shield, and it just puts full power to them all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's funny that they kind of they're like we're going away from the power triangle, and everybody just mapped their key bindings to mimic the power triangle.
Yeah, it's just funny because now the power triangle, you know, it's even a simpler power triangle because you can put full power to everything at once. Because back in the old power triangle days, you had to actively be
And
switching it
choose.
guns,
Yeah.
shields, engines,
Yeah.
guns, shields, and
You
you'd be
could put
switching it like
everything because you have such a high power plant. Because I can't put everything to max.
well on these little fighters, yes, yeah, and you think you gain one pip by shutting off your life support, so there's an extra one. Like right
Oh.
now, my F7A military, the F7A, I have two leftover pips even with life support on, and that's with the full, NDBs and
Those
rhinos,
ships.
See, that's
which is a
really
whole
cool.
other, NDBs are debatable, but yeah, if you can power everything, that might be the thing that changes where, you're running stealth, you have very very little power, and you're not able to do something like that on a light fighter or a medium fighter.
Well, I imagine hopefully all those components and stuff are going to get to be like engineered in some way. That it won't just be you have a stealth component and you put it in your ship. Because that to me, that's like the lamest part of this whole thing. It's like, oh, I just have the stealth part and I plug it in and now I'm stealthy. Like there
Yeah,
needs to be
because
some kind of tactical engineering for those parts.
that's why I like right in the new Armory channel is I'm not even listing what other components we have because that's not the meta is stealth. That's it.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm sure it could change as easily, they add the pinging, make that more discovery. I think there's a lot of things that could change with it in the near future. But
But will
we
they?
can't be the only people that'll be frustrated by these Firebirds, so I imagine they'll look at that. So it's got to be somebody has to be looking at these stats.
Right, right.
I
Now
mean,
they're
If the
supposed to.
Corsair was killing everything and they had to remove the bottom two guns from that, like this, surely they would say, "Oh, Firebird!" Like,
They didn't
look at
have to
that.
remove the guns from the Corsair.
Yeah,
They
they
did
didn't have
certainly did
that
not
other
have to.
stuff to sell. But one day, I'll come back to the Corsair. I miss it.
Yeah. Did they? So today they said they were going to release the update roadmap for 4.1.2. 2 or whatever it is for the next patch update. Have they released anything?
I haven't even looked.
Yeah, what's the name of the Holland? It sounded like it was cargo themed. The name of the patch, but I don't know if that's
It's based on the new
based on the
new
phase
mission.
3.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's phase 3. I think we're in phase 3 now. I don't.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The CFP
Well,
That new
missions.
mission
Yeah.
looks like it's if the servers are working good when they put that mission out, I think that's going to be a blast. It looks like it is.
Yeah, some fun content would be nice.
Well, they
Um,
said one patch
I
a
just need
month, right?
phase 2 to work.
So see, this week in Star Citizen, they released with the big heart on it, and I guess nothing. I guess they're not going to release anything. They don't have anything planned for this week.
Oh, there's no
Yeah, okay.
video this week. Next week.
Nothing.
The-
Yeah.
Yeah, they already said the schedule isn't going to be like a weekly thing anymore. It's just going to be once or twice a month.
All
Or
right. Well,
when
we
they
got
need to.
we'll have at least we'll have some good material to discuss for the next show.
Well, they're not
Correct.
releasing anything.
Oh, I thought it was just going to be postponed a week. All right. Well, either way, we'll find some good material for the next show, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the show would only be made possible by our sponsor, Tav.
Yes, the Cruz Dark,
No,
matching the purple colors of the universe.
you understand we're not doing that, right?
Why we get so much more? You got to spread the love.
Unbelievable.
I
You guys
can't.
got to sit in these talks with corporate, man. You got to
Corporate.
Gotta push the labels.
Tav,
The whole
nobody's
brand.
listening.
we've got
You don't need to
somebody on the
push
line.
for other advertisers. I don't. What's your pitch when you go in there?
I would say, wait, for other advertisers, I would say, oh yeah, we're looking to expand our empire of
I hate
right
it.
now Cruz Lux has been a big part of it. We wouldn't be where we are without Cruz Lux, but
Yeah.
we're looking for additional.
No. See, that's
additional
where you take a turn. Cruz Lux, the cruise you can Lux. This is Open Comms Radio, your call-in show. You can always call into the show and pop on and let us know what you think about Star Citizen and our question of the week. This week's question was, are you stealthy, baby? MurphyJack, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, pleasure. I'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you on the next one. Feel better, buddy.
Absolutely.
See you.
Yes, feel better.
Wikkett, thank you for joining us once again. Wikkett, you've become quite a staple of this show.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a third-time caller, man. Long-time listener.
Long time listener, third time caller, reliable as hell.
Super reliable. Oh, speaking of reliability, I may not be able to do this next week.
But we're gonna have a new intro.
I know. But even if I can do it,
Do we just postpone?
no, you need to do the back end, Tav. You need to stream it
How would
with OBS.
Ooh, we'll have to figure something out. Well, maybe we'll get you. We can find yourself a co-host, a temporary tag in.
No. Well, I'm gonna try to do it, but I'm gonna be in Germany, and I can't guarantee it because it'll be 1 in the morning.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Well, yeah,
You'll make
me-
it
run
happen
me
if
through
you're
the deets.
dedicated.
Yeah, but either way, maybe I could. It's just audio, right?
Yeah. Or just let me know what you need. I got you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Knock it out.
All right, Open Comms Radio. Thank you all for stopping by.
Thanks, everyone. It's gonna be a fun show next time.
Oh, do the theme song.
Do 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 do.
Do.
Watch that be what gives us copyright. Yeah. Ding.